So now we have reading passage 2, guys, and welcome back to the walkthrough again. Does education fuel economic growth? Mm, does education fuel economic growth? That means, does education increase? e- Um, does education impact on economic growth? Something like that. So I'm gonna choose a highlighter here. I'm gonna be very clear here. So when you tackle these kinds of questions, so let me go first with matching features. All right, matching features, they do not come in order. So when you see these kinds of questions, I suggest you to just find. I suggest you to highlight the words that will guide you to find the answer. For example, an explanation of the need for research to focus on individuals with a fairly consistent income. So that means there's an explanation focus on individuals with fairly consistent income. Fairly consistent income means they have equal income, something like that. You just remember that you don't really necessarily have to remember. There will be a chance when you read one paragraph, you will come and just see if any of the sentences mentioned here is met within a passage, something like that. Examples of the resources the database has been compiled from. So there has to be examples of sources of database. Okay. All right. Compiled from sources of database means from what kinds of sources has it been taken? From where has it been taken? An account of one individual's refusal to obey an order. So individuals, there was a person who kind of you in defiance, let's say, so there was a person who refused to respect the order that maybe a law or maybe a rule. So a reference to a region being particularly suited to research into the link between education and growth. So a reference to a particular region. There has to be one region they'll be concentrating. An example of the items included in the list of personal possessions. Personal possession means something that belongs to you. All right. So, and then if you see summary completion, look, the question here, they do not come in order. So just because the matching features they do not come in order, that means summary completion will come somewhere at the top, like paragraph A or B. However, I'm not really going to concentrate on that. The thing is that I will locate the name Anna. Whoops, excuse me. I don't know why is it doing like this. I will concentrate first on Anna Regina and Magdalena something, so some sort of German name, and Ogilvy. And as far as I can see, Ogilvy is probably everywhere. So I'm just gonna concentrate on these two names. And as you can see, Anna Regina and Magdalena. Another one is 300-year period. And you can see 300-year periods. All right. If you want, I can. There's a chance I would probably do this first as well. So I'm not necessarily going to concentrate on that as well. All right. So maybe I will come back, but we will see. Which two of the following statements does the writer make about literacy rates in section B? So you can see that it's already navigating you through the question. Section B, you will have a question 23 to 24. Whoops. There you go. And another one is here. Which two of the following statements does the writer make in section F about guilds? About guilds in German-speaking Central Europe between 1600 and 1900. Section F. I'm gonna go to section F and see Ogilvy, blah blah blah, between 1600 and 1900. There we go. Now let's go more. Without further ado, let's get started. The better way to say. Over the last decade, a huge database about the lives of Southwest German villagers between 1600 and 1900 has been compiled by a team led by Professor Sheilach Ogilvy at Cambridge University of Faculty of Economics. It includes court records, guild ledgers, parish registers, village what is that? Censuses or censuses, tax lists, and the most recent edition, 9,000 handwritten inventories listing over 1 million personal possessions belonging to ordinary women and men across three centuries. All right. Here, as you can see, examples of the sources. The answer is going to be A, because it is saying examples of the sources that the data has been compiled from. So Professor Sheilach Ogilvy, Cambridge University Faculty of Economics, compiled data taken from court records, guild ledgers, parish registers, village censuses, or censuses, tax lists, in the most recent edition, 9,000 handwritten inventories. So you see, these are the examples. These are called examples. Now, as Ogilvy explains, education helps us to work more productively, invent better technology, and earn more. Surely it must be critical for economic growth, but if you look back through history, there's no evidence that having a high literacy rate made a country industrialize earlier. All right, industrialize earlier. Between 1600 and 1900, England had only mediocre rates of European standards. Yet its economy grew fast, and it was the first century to industrialize. During this period, Germany and Scandinavia had excellent literacy rate, but their economies grew slowly, and they industrialized late. Modern cross-country analysis have also struggled to find evidence that education causes economic growth, even though there's a plenty of evidence that growth increases education. All right. First of all, an explanation to the need, no. An account, a bay, no, region, items list. We don't have that, but we're going to pay attention to section B. Very little research has been done into the link between, no, not that. I'm going to remove this. I don't need this. Literacy rates in Germany between 1600 and 1900 were very good. Obviously, this is the option, because, please highlight, thank you, because Germany and Scandinavia had excellent literacy rates. The EQC had excellent literacy rates. And there is strong evidence that high literacy rates in modern world resulted. No, actually, there's no evidence. They said. They say modern cross-country analysis have also struggled to find evidence that education causes economic growth. There's strong evidence that high literacy, you see that high literacy rates in modern world result in economic growth. So there's no, they also struggle to find evidence. So that's not the option. England is a good example of how literacy rates helped the country industrialize. No, England had only mediocre rates. Mediocre means average or below average. So this line is taken as well. So most probably economic growth can help improve literacy rates is the correct option, because as you can see that even though there is a plenty of evidence, growth increases education. Growth increases education. So I'm just gonna say 24 here and 23 over here. All right, I'm just gonna give it as Q. Whoops, Q. Thank you very much. I'm sorry for the noise because of my cat jumping back and forth. All right, now section F. We don't know. In the handwritten inventories that Ogilvy is analyzing are the belongings of women and men at marriage, remarriage, and death, from badger skins to Bibles, sewing machines to scarlet bodices. The villagers' entire worldly goods are included. So these are the list of personal possessions. Whoops, there you go. Inventories of agricultural equipment and craft tools reveal economic activities. Ownerships of books and education-related objects like pens and slates suggest how people learned. In addition, the tax lists included in the database record the value of farms, workshops, assets, and debts. Signatures and people's estimates of their age indicate literacy and numeracy levels. And court records reveal obstacles, such as the activities of the guilds that stifled industry. Previous studies usually had just one way of linking education with economic growth: the presence of schools and printing presses, perhaps, or school enrollment, or the ability to sign names. According to Ogilvy, the database provides multiple indicators for the same individuals, making it possible to analyze links between literacy, numeracy, wealth, and industriousness. What is that? Industriousness for individual women and men over the long term. So there's a lot of useless names. I mean, statements. It's not really interesting here. So we're going to read a little bit more. Now we will probably find questions for question 19 to 22. Ogilvy and her team have been building a vast database for material possessions on top of their full demographic reconstruction of the people who lived in these two German communities. So the database that Ogilvy and her team has compiled sheds light on the lives of a range of individuals as well as those of their something. Range of individuals as well as those of theirs. I mean, that means a person and his or hers someone else. We can follow the same people and their descendants across. Okay, we have descendants and their descendants over 300 years of educational and economical change. There you go. We can give this and highlight it as question number 19. And we have descendants. Descendants. There you go. For example, Anna, Regina, and Magdalena were, reprimanded for reading while they should have been paying attention to a something. Reprimanded? Okay, we'll see what reprimanded means. Individual lives have unfolded before their eyes. Stories like that of the 24-year-olds Anna, Regina, and Magdalena, who were chastised in 1702 for reading books in church instead of listening to the sermon. So instead of paying attention means listening to the sermon. Sermon probably has to be a song in the church that is performed. I don't know. There was also Juliana something, I don't know how to pronounce that name, who came to the notice of the Weavers Guild in the year 1752 for breaking guild rules. As a punishment, she was later given a something. Okay, we have the database also reveals the case of Juliana something, a 50-year-old spinster living in the small Black Forest community of Wildberg, who was reprimanded in 1752 by the local Weavers Guild for weaving cloth and combing wool. Counter to the guide ordinance. This is a very like a tongue twister. When Juliana continued taking jobs reserved for male guild members, she was summoned before the guild court and told to pay a fine equivalent to 1/3 of servants' annual wage. So she faced a fine. She was later given a fine. Later given a fine means told to pay a fine. Right, so there you go. Should I highlight this part? Alright, let me just give this a number so you can see actually that it is. Okay, where's sermon? Question 20. There we go. And I'm gonna highlight this part fully so that you can actually navigate that one as well. Question number 21. Cases like this illustrate how the guilds could prevent something and stop skilled people from working. It was a small act of defiance by today's standards, but it reflects a time when laws in Germany and elsewhere regulated people's access to labor markets. The dominance of guilds not only prevented people from using their skills, but also held back even the simplest industrial innovation. So they prevented innovation. Held back means prevent. Holding back means to go against something. So I'm going to go with question number 22. All right. Now, refusal to obey an order. D. Refusal to obey an order means that she was reprimanded in 1752. Maybe the term reprimanded means um, it was kind of a warning, maybe. But Juliana continued taking jobs reserved, and she was summoned before the guild court. So that means, yeah, she refused to obey an order, and therefore she got a fine equivalent to 1/3 of a servant's annual wage. So yeah, the data gathering phase of the object what is that has been completed, and now, according to Ogilvy, it is time to ask big questions. One way to look at whether education causes economic growth is to hold wealth constant, and I'm 100% sure the answer is already here for question number 1. Individuals with a fairly consistent income. This involves the lives of different people with the same level of wealth over a period of time. If wealth is constant, it is possible to discover whether education was, for example, linked to the cultivation of new crops or the adoption of industrial innovations like sewing machines. This all explains question number 14. Q14. There we go. The answer is going to be A. E. Now, reference to a region particularly. Probably this already has to be F. Ogilvy hopes to start finding answers to these questions over the next few years. One thing is already clear, she says: the relationship between education and economic growth is far from straightforward. German-speaking Central Europe is an excellent laboratory for testing theories. All right, there we go. A reference to a region being particularly suited to research. So there's a part of a place, part within a country, where it is suitable to conduct research within a laboratory or whatever it is. So they're saying German-speaking Central Europe. So there's a Europe that is a German-speaking place, and it is considered to be an excellent laboratory for testing theories of economic growth. So there you go. The answer is going to be F. However, we're not finished here. We have 25 and 26. Literacy rates and book ownership were high, and yet the region remained poor. It was also, we can get this. I'm gonna choose yellow color here deliberately so that I can find the answers. It was also the case that local guilds and merchant associations were extremely powerful and legislated against anything that undermined their monopolies. Okay. In villages throughout the region, guilds blocked labor migration and resisted changes that might reduce their influence. Okay, another one. Early findings suggest that the potential benefits of education for this economy can be held back by other barriers, and this has implications for today, says Ogilvy. Huge amounts are spent improving education in developing countries, but this spending can fail to deliver economic growth if restrictions block people, especially women and the poor, from using their education in economically productive ways. If economic institutions are poorly set up, for instance, education can't lead to growth. So they helped young people to learn a skill? No, obviously. It's not there. They were opposed to people moving to an area of work. I guess this is the one, because it's here. Where's that? Where was it? Guilds blocked labor migration and resisted changes that might reduce their influence. This is the part. Another way, they kept better records than guilds in other parts of the world. Did they keep better records? No. There was nothing about the record, is it? Literacy rates and book ownership were so high, and yet the region remained poor. There was also a case that local guilds and merchants were extremely powerful to legislate anything that undermined their monopolies. It was in villages throughout the region, guilds blocked labor migration. Labor migration is probably a war. A job, not a war. Moving to an area for work. Moving to an area for work means labor migration. They oppose practices that threaten their control over a trade. And resist the changes that might reduce their influence. Okay. There are two things met here. 25 and 26. Whoops. There you go. I'm going to specifically highlight this in cyan color. And I'll give this answer number D. There you go. They predominantly consisted of wealthy merchants. The local business merchants were extremely powerful legislating against anything. They were predominantly consisted of they were powerful, but were they wealthy? It's not mentioned. So yeah, BD. So are we finished here? I probably think it is. So yeah, there you go, guys. We finished passage number 2, test number 4, Cambridge number 17. If you have any questions, make sure to comment down below. Again, from passage 1 of test 4, I'm going to always mention, if you this video, the purpose of this video is to make sure so that I provide at least a tiny bit of understanding how reading works for those people who do not understand how reading is actually performed or how reading can be solved. It's not like reading. It's not like always about skimming and scanning the words, individual words, and just paraphrasing. I'm trying to teach people how to tackle the questions so they can easily find answers instead of reading the text for hours and ultimately understand nothing at all. So because it's a void value, all right. So yeah, if you find it helpful, please do share with people who actually need it, and also consider to smash that wonderful like button, which is like this. If you don't, you can dislike it as well. However, yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next episode.